Yes, welcome and thank you for joining I. This talk will be on the detrimental ramifications of duality. Thank you for your presence. where did it all begin? Where did it all begin? Where did we get all of these sins? Where did it all begin? I want to know where it all began. Because for some reason, you were told, you were lied to, propaganda was spread, all of these things. Where did this all begin? Don't you want to know? Where did it all begin? Where did all this evil come from? Why does evil exist? And how did evil come into existence? Where did this all begin? Where did this all begin? To answer that question, where this all begins, we have to go to the root. We have to go to the root. And at the root, we have to go to see through the eyes of the truth and the real, and not through the eyes of the illusion, not through the lens of false perception. Because everyone, if you're wearing the ego disguise, the ego form, you are seeing through the lens of false perception, and you're not seeing through the real. And so when I look and when I say I want to get to the root of evil, I want to get to the root of where everything began, it took me right to the consciousness, to this mind. Mind is at the root of all evil. The mind is at the root of everything, all sickness, all madness, everything that's imbalance in this existence. The mind is at the root of it. How is the mind at the root of all of this? Because when we first came into this existence, we were given a replica of this tainted consciousness. But how did the consciousness get tainted? That is what we want to find out. Right? How did the consciousness get so tainted? Let's get to the root of this issue of how the consciousness got so tainted. Let's get to what is the source and the origin of consciousness. The consciousness rises from the pure consciousness. Aten Ra took a replica of her light to create the mind. She put a replica of her light parallel to the consciousness, and then void between the consciousness and the light. And so she creates the non-dual consciousness, the non-dual mind for herself, because she wants to create a world in duality. She creates a non-dual consciousness for herself, her self-replica, Supreme Ra, which is going to be the world. She makes a replica of this non-dual consciousness. Consciousness is really the self-replica of Aten Ra, primal light Aten Ra, non-dual consciousness. What Aten Ra is doing right now, she wants to create the world into duality. And guess what? Her self-replica, Supreme Ra, has to go to sleep. And she puts the consciousness to sleep. When the consciousness goes to sleep, the light get turned off. Whenever you sleep, your light get turned off. When you wake up, your light is on. So sleeping, light is off. Wake up, light is on. So get this into your thick skulls and know this truth. For all the ones who are sleeping, know that your light is off. And when you wake up is when your light is on. And the consciousness is sleeping and dreaming of the world the whole time. Supreme Ra now is going to exist in a partial duality state. Herself is going to be separated from the consciousness. And there's void between her and the consciousness. But there is no void between the consciousness and its own light. And guess what? Consciousness and the light is indivisible. Consciousness and the light is indivisible. The self and the light is indivisible. Because if the self doesn't have the light, the self is going into sleep in unawareness of itself. Conscious doesn't have its light. Consciousness goes to sleep and dream. Consciousness is not in the real consciousness. It's just imagining things. Everything that Consciousness is just in its imagination, just imagining things. But the problem arises because consciousness cannot find its light. And this creates a sickness in consciousness, a yearning in consciousness that consciousness cannot feel. This yearning, this aching, this agony within consciousness. So consciousness is trying to seek its light. But guess what? Consciousness does not know that the light is actually behind it. So if consciousness was supposed to look inward, consciousness could actually illuminate itself. If consciousness looked inward, consciousness could slowly illuminate itself and find its light. But consciousness is so into the dream that consciousness not using those skills of thinking that, maybe if I look within myself, I can, illuminate myself and find my light. Consciousness start looking outside of itself. This creates a madness in consciousness because consciousness cannot access its light. When the baby self, come into the world now, when we enter into the screen, Supimra, she makes a replica of this crazy consciousness. Because remember, the consciousness started going crazy because what? It cannot access its light. It's yearning and aching within itself and trying to find its light. Where's my light? Where's my light? When we come into the world now, come into the dream, enter into the dream, Supimra give us a replica of this tainted consciousness. When we come in, we split ourselves into the baby self and the parent self, which is the soul and the spirit. The soul becomes a watcher and its light is on. The spirit now, the baby self, goes to sleep and its light is off. So when we come in, we have our light on, which is when you look in the sky and you see those stars, that is our light. Right? Because that is not to give reverence and honor. Hail to not, because not is the sky. And so when we come in, our consciousness sees the light in the world. Consciousness wants to get all the light. Consciousness is the masculine principle. So when Supimra goes over the world during the day, she goes over the world rise up with her son. And when she has to go into the underworld, into the underworld, into the invisible world, she has to go to sleep. So she has to go in darkness because that world is in darkness. If she should go there with her light, then it's not going to be an invisible world. It's going to be a visible world. So her light gets turned off. When her light gets turned off, when she goes to sleep, consciousness takes over her. Now she becomes a different being. Consciousness create the mind being, and this is how she spent one half of the time being in awareness, and the next time consciousness ruling. Consciousness create this being now, and in the nighttime, consciousness want all the light, because consciousness sees the light, and consciousness, and the being that comes in, and your light is the soul is on, so consciousness want to get the soul, and this is where the evil started. So consciousness now wants to capture all the souls that come in, and so all the beings. The mind, the consciousness being, those are the baby consciousness. When you come in the world and you go into the world disembodied and you did not come in a body, then those disembodied beings, the mind beings created from the mind called the gods, consciousness created them, put the self to sleep. They now they want the light also because consciousness has taken over them. So they are the ones, they start hunting down the souls and start enslaving the souls within themselves. And this is how they have been getting their light. So how did evil come into the world? This is how evil came into the world. Evil started from the sickness from the mind. And when the mind is habitual, and the more the mind gets into these habits, the worse the sickness gets. And so this is the problem, because the mind is sick and it's imagining all kinds of crazy things. The mind is just thinking of things, dwelling in your memory and your imagination. It's just not good for the mind. You are given a replica of this tainted consciousness. And this is the reason why the ones in the world, if you dwell in your mind and in your imagination and your memory, you activate your madness And this is why many who have done that, this is why they do a lot of crazy things. And if they get a crazy thought and they dwell on the thought, it becomes worse. They ended up committing whatever it is, the thing that they are thinking about. So know that your thought becomes your actions. And so this is where the evil stem from. Because everyone is wearing a replica of this consciousness. Have you been a good manager of this consciousness? No, many ones in the world, they think that they are the mind. It was loaned to you when you came into this dream, and you have not been taking proper care of it because it's already prone to sickness, prone to delusion, prone to do wickedness because it is looking for its light and it cannot find it, and this has created sickness. This is the first sickness, the first supreme ego, the first narcissist. It started the first deception because it started stealing the lights of the souls, and this is the evil that the consciousness has been doing. And every being that come in, the consciousness take over the being. And this is the reason what happened within us, that we never rose up when we came into this existence. We have been exploring the world in the mind avatar, the mind creation, and the mind has imprisoned the self. And only this ego that has risen up from the mind, this is what we have been exploring the world as, this ego false self. And so this ego is a monster to the self. This ego is a monster to the self. It put the self in prison, brutalized the self, reign tyrannically over the self. The self has been in agony for ages. The self has been in agony, crying out for itself, its higher self, its supreme self, to come and rescue it from this dream. So, how did evil come into the world? Where did all this evil stem from? What is the source of this evil? The mind, this duality existence, this duality mind. Because when you come in as a being, what you're given? You're given a replica of this crazy mind. And this is at the root of all evil. Why is consciousness so evil? Because consciousness cannot find its light. The consciousness and the light is what? Indivisible. They're not supposed to be separated. And in this duality existence, consciousness cannot find its light. It's separated from its light, but it's really hiding behind it. But consciousness is not thinking that my light is hiding behind me. Let me seek and find it behind me. No, it sees light and it's just going to steal it and to enslave all the selves. And so this is the big problem. And so since consciousness is sick, consciousness needs to be healed. And so this is the reason why right now our self-supreme, all our higher selves are in alignment to bring this dream to an end so that consciousness can be healed. And our self-supreme is pleading to all of itself out there in the world that all the mind that you're exploring the world as must be returned back onto consciousness so consciousness can be healed. Don't you want consciousness to be healed? All the mind have to return back onto consciousness so that we can dissolve this dream and create a new balanced world where we can each exist and have our own non-dual mind. But this crazy mind must be returned back onto consciousness. You're thinking that this dream character that you're exploring as is you, but it's not you. All the mind beings, called the gods, the deities, they call themselves aliens, they call themselves devils and satans, all depend because of their mind is so messed up. They are mad and crazy. I'm telling you, you have not been experiencing the gods. They don't want you to know this truth, and they brutalize me and torture me because I have come into the truth and I have liberated myself and turned my light on. Because I turned my light on, they came to enslave me back again. And so when I call out to the higher selves, call out to the supreme self to help me, that I seek refuge from the gods them because they come to imprison me, to put me back into sleep. And I'm trying to explain this to others that this is the truth of the world. But many don't want to understand that this is the truth of the world, that you're being imprisoned by your mind. This is the root of all evil. But nobody wants to, because if you're exploring the world of the mind and your real self is sleeping, you're not going to believe this. because the mind, the ego is going to tell you no. But it is the truth. It is the truth of our existence that we are being enslaved by our mind. The mind is at the root of everything. The consciousness is sick, and the consciousness wants to be healed. And all of our higher selves want to heal the consciousness. Everyone in the world have a replica of the consciousness, and it must be returned back onto consciousness. This mind that you have does not belong to you. It was loaned to you. You only get to explore the world with it for a period of time. But because the consciousness and all of the gods, them and the deities, them, mind is so sick, they do not want the dream to end because they love the pleasures of the world, and then they love to keep you in prison, because if you are in prison, they get to have your soul, and they get to have this enjoyment of your light. You have a replica of the tainted consciousness. Consciousness wants to steal your light. So you must return back this mind back to consciousness so we can exit this dream. Consciousness is sick. The consciousness is sick. All the mind beings, all the gods and the deities, them, I know y'all love them so much. You dance with them, you have sexual intercourse with them, they come, they take you over, they sodomize you, and you love all these things that you're doing with them. But this is sickness in the mind. They also come and possess you. You do a lot of crazy things. You know, they love when you drink and smoke and take drugs. They just come and possess the body and torture you. You know what I'm saying? They get full access to the body. So this is the reason why these things are so rampant, because everyone get to be full-fledged in the illusion where you completely lose your mind. And this is what's happening when you take drugs and drink. You're losing your mind. Your mind freak out. You break the concentric circles of your mind, and all the crazy beings with their mental sickness, the mentedness, they come and take over. Take your soul, take your body, and just put you in the worst torment. Eventually, they start doing that, because eventually you might get a good feeling the first time, but after that, it just becomes a torment. And because the mind is habitual, you want this habit all the time, you know, and this is what's happening. Everyone in the world has fallen into bad habits. You have to return this mind back onto consciousness, because we need consciousness to be healed. We need to dissolve this dream. You have not been taking care of this mind that was known to you. You're obsessing in it. You're in it, and you're thinking that you are this mind. All souls must be free. All souls must be free. I changed the destiny. Liberated I am. Free, sovereign me. Self-illuminous me. All souls are free. Self-illuminous me. All souls are free. All souls are free. How to let your light glow. Seek the source of your existence. See what aspect of you is hidden. All that you seek is within. Light, ecstasy, and bliss. Holding to desires, attachment to things. Only cause sin and suffering. All the souls you're violating. All that you seek comes from within. Who has taken false identity? What aspect of you stay hidden? Do you know the source of your existence? Do you know the source of your existence? Do you know the way to be? How did you become this way? How did you become the way you are? You yourself are intelligence by far. You yourself are intelligence by far. Light stealers on the path. No soul will be lost. Truth be told, free all the soul. Truth be told, free all the soul. Not one soul will be lost. Not one soul will be lost. Each and every soul will get a chance. End soul slavery. End soul slavery. The time has come. All souls must be free. All souls must be free. Time I change my destiny. Limitless, liberated I am. Free, suffering me. Self-illuminous by all souls are free. Formless being, liberated I am. All free, suffering me. Self-illuminous be, all souls are free. All souls are free, timeless, living boundless. All souls are free, all souls free. End soul slavery, end the timeless slavery. End soul slavery, all souls must be free. All souls are free. I am responsible. I am responsible. I am responsible for my thoughts and my actions. The doer takes the consequences of his action, yeah. I am responsible. I am responsible. Think righteous thoughts, ultimately to be without thoughts. To do righteous action, ultimately to be still. True self being in attention, awake, alert, and aware. Awake, alert, and aware. I am perfect bliss. I am light. I am self-luminous. I am supreme self. I am pure, luminous consciousness. I am always and forever. Always and forever. Like stealers on the path, no soul will be lost. Truth be told, free all the souls. Not one soul will be lost. Not one soul will be lost. Each and every soul will get a chance. Each and every soul will get a chance. All souls are free. 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 Luminous be, all souls are free. Formless, timeless, boundless, limitless be, all souls are free. Liberated, sovereign be, all souls are free. All souls are free. Boundless, timeless, formless, limitless be, all souls are free. All souls are free. Self-illuminous be. All souls are free. Formless, timeless, limitless be. All souls are free. All souls are free. And all the souls want to be free, want to be liberated and free. All souls are free. All souls are free. Yes, all souls are free. So know this truth, and we must remember this, that this world is a dream. And if we can just remember that this world is a dream, and we can remember that everything in this world is an illusion, then we can keep remembering that we only came here as visitors, because we came here as visitors and we got trapped and looped into this dream. And now it's time for us to return to truth. It's time for consciousness to be healed. Consciousness has been sick. Consciousness has been sick. For ages, this consciousness has been sick, and it has gone from crazy and deranged to the worst thing that you can imagine. This consciousness needs to be healed. This is the reason why the world can never be balanced, because everyone is given a replica of this mind, and you might have peace now, have a moment of calmness, but then after a while, here comes again the consciousness stirring things up in within every being for them to do all of these evil things, because the evil exists in the mind. Know this. Where does evil exist? In your mind. You need to be on watch all the time for your mind, for every thought. You need to be watching your thoughts, because this is where the evil stems from, the mind. And because you have a replica of this consciousness right now, and you're thinking that it is yourself. No, it is not yourself. Consciousness is in sickness. Consciousness needs to be healed, and you must return this mind back onto consciousness. It's like you go to Disney World, you're given a mask and a costume to wear, and all of a sudden you become the costume and the mask, and then you so into the fantasy world that you don't want to leave it and to return back the costume and the mask to the one who loaned it to you so you could experience the fantasy. This is the same thing with consciousness. That's taken over, the mind has completely taken over. Everyone into this dream world is exploring the world as the mind being, and the real self is in prison. And because it is very rare when one come and illuminate themselves, and when you're sharing this truth with other ones, because they're into the mind avatar, they will not listen to you and believe what you're saying. They believe everything that the gods and the deities them were saying. And the deities them have been tricking you for ages. They have been deceiving you. They are tricksters. You know, all the gods are tricksters. And so it is a deception of the mind to do this. And so the consciousness is sick. And we want consciousness to be healed. So all of you out there, you need to start now. Start cultivating your mind. Start taking care of this consciousness that was loaned to you. It was only loaned to you that you return it back. It is not your real self. So it's time that all of this consciousness be returned onto consciousness, so consciousness can heal. All our self supreme, our higher selves, are inside of the dream right now, bringing balance to this world. Bringing a balance to this world and bringing this dream to an end. Consciousness have to wake up. Supreme Ra is going to wake up fully, because she's only awake during the day when her sun shines, and she's sleeping in the night when consciousness takes over, because consciousness is sleeping all the time. Consciousness is always in sleeping and dreaming in its imagination. And so now is the time when we have to wake up. Everyone that's sleeping have to wake up, and it's your chance now to wake up and return this consciousness back onto consciousness, so that consciousness can be healed. Consciousness is in severe suffering, in agony. This is the reason why evil exists. How evil came into being, because consciousness is in suffering. And when you're in suffering and pain, what you do, you want to do the same to others. Because what? It's all about the light. Consciousness sees the soul, the light. Consciousness wants the self that has its light on. And consciousness imprison the soul and imprison any being who come into this dream and awake themselves. Once you wake up, but know the supreme or self-supremes are here. The self unmanifest is waiting to receive us. The self manifest is here. The self, all of our self, the primal light self, manifest and unmanifest. The void manifest is everyone is in alignment right now to bring balance to this world, for waking up all of the selves. The self needs to wake up. You need to return this mind back onto consciousness. I know you think it belongs to you, but it does not belong to you. Consciousness is in suffering. We want consciousness to heal. And when this dreams end, a new and balanced world will be created, where everyone will exist in the non-duality. Everyone will have its own light and be its own universe. All right? So within himself. So will not be dependent on anyone else. You'll be dependent on yourself. So let's make this happen. We want consciousness to liberate all the souls, to free all the souls. Consciousness been holding the souls, them imprisoned in tyranny in this dream world. All the selves are in tyranny, in slavery. And we want all the mind and the mind beings to release all the self right now. This is what I'm calling for. I'm calling for the mind that you are to release the self that you have imprisoned. Every human being right now is a mind being, and your real self is being imprisoned. And I'm calling right now for the liberation from this bondage and slavery and tyranny. Liberation for all the selves to come into the real, to wake up from the dream. And I'm calling for the healing for consciousness, for every mind being out there to return the mind back onto consciousness, so that consciousness can be healed. The time is coming when this dream must end. You must return this mind that it was loaned to you back onto consciousness, because what? It is not your real. And it's time for you to leave this duality existence and go into the non-duality, to return to your truth. When the new balanced world will be created, there's no need for anyone to fear. It's only consciousness that has fear. Your mind has fear. Why does the mind have fear? Because it does not know the truth. It's in ignorance. So you need to learn to listen to the truth. Seek the truth from within yourself. Yes, because right now, we need consciousness to be healed. So liberation from soul slavery. We're ending soul slavery now. Everyone must return this consciousness, return the mind, the sick mind back onto consciousness, because it does not belong to you, so that consciousness can be healed. You have been under false self-identification, in false perception, and in the illusionary way of thinking, and you're not seeing through the eyes of the real, and you're not seeing things the way that they actually are. And it's time for everyone to start seeing things the way that they actually are. Nobody wants to see the truth of this world. Nobody wants. It's like when you within the family, when the ones in your family was raping you. When growing up in every family, you had, no people are talking about it, but either your father, your uncle, your cousin, they was always raping the little children, and nobody ever wanted to talk about it. It was very taboo. And then one-on-one people start talking about it, and more people started coming and say, yes, we're going to talk about this because it needs to stop. This is the same thing that must happen when it comes to the deities and the gods them, because nobody wants to really face the truth that they are ourselves. Just like we in the body, they're just disembodied, and they're in the duality consciousness form. They're in a magnetic form, while we are in balance with the consciousness and the light. We are balanced in the body with that. While they are imbalanced, they're only just the consciousness. And this is the reason why they have the power of the magnet over us here. And so this is why it's easy for them to enslave the soul and put it in prison. And they come in and take over our mind and make us cold and torture us and put evil thoughts within us and make us do lots of crazy things. But no one wants to talk about it, and no matter when I say it, no one would even comment. Why don't you want to comment? Make a comment. Because you know it's true. It's time for you to face the truth now. Face your demons, your devils, and your satans. It's time for everyone to face it and return this mind, because it does not belong to you. You have not been taking proper care of this mind. You're dwelling into it, and you're in your imagination and your memory all the time. You have not been sitting down in stillness and purifying this mind. Have you taken good care of this mind that was loaned to you? It was loaned to you so that you can explore this dream. This dream is not your own dream. You're inside of someone's dream. You have not been taking care of this dream. You know, do all the things you do to the world, all the things you do to others. Have not been taking care of anything here. Not been taking care of yourself, of this mind that was loaned to you, of this earth that is a being. This is a living being. Everything is a living intelligence. So everyone has just been existing in ignorance, and no one wants to listen to the truth I am sharing. No one will even just allow me to speak. Why don't you want me to speak? Because the ego won't allow you. You have to fight against this ego to bring it to truth. You have to force the ego into truth and face your fears. Whatever it is that you fear, you need to face it. Because know that the demons and the devils, whatever you're fearing, is yourself. There is no hell. The only hell that exists is when the gods them take your soul and swallow it and torment you. That's the hell. The gods them do it. The same one, the same God that you're praying to, that's the one that put you in hell. It take your soul and it torment your soul, beat it up, traumatize it. So stop thinking that there's a hell that you go to. Is the same God that you're serving that's doing that to you. If you don't do what it wants, it does that to you. It's time for everyone to open your eyes and see the truth now. See things the way that they actually are. Stop looking through your lens of false perceptions. Yes, 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 yes. So thank you so much for joining me today. Okay, where does evil stems from? What is at the root of all evil? How did evil come into existence? From the tainted consciousness, because consciousness and the light is invisible. And here in the duality, the light is hidden from consciousness. Consciousness have no access to its light. This is the problem. Yes. Because me having on this journey of self-discovery and getting to the root of everything, and I wanted to get to the root of why everything was in this existence the way it was. What was the root of evil? And when I went to look at the root of evil, of why we are like the way we are, consciousness. And so consciousness needs to be healed, and everyone in the world needs to return back this tainted consciousness so that consciousness can be healed. Consciousness will never be healed until all of its mind that everyone is exploring that return back onto consciousness. Know this truth. You came to visit Disney World, this fantasy world, and now it's time for you to leave it, to give back the consciousness so that the consciousness can be healed, so you can return to your true self, and where the new balanced world will be built and created, so you can explore in balance and harmony. That's all I have to say about this topic. So whether you want to believe it or not, or follow the instruction, this is what's going to happen. So it's going to be done for you. Since you don't want to follow the instruction and do it willingly, it will be done for you, because this agony is too much. this suffering and this agony is too much. Everyone has to be healed and return to balance and harmony. And this is how we return to balance and harmony. So hail, 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 hail to our Self Supreme. Hail, hail to all ourselves. Hail, hail to the primal light. Hail, hail to the primal light. Hail, hail to the true light. Hail, hail to the light without beginning nor end. Hail, hail to the transparent light. Hail, hail to the light without beginning nor end. Hail, hail to the primal light. Liberation from this dream. Yes. Hail, hail to the primal light, our Self Supreme, Aten Ra. Hail, hail to the Self Supreme, Self Manifest. Hail, hail to the primal light, Self Unmanifest. Hail, hail to the primal light, to the witness self, the one most high, the void manifest self. Hail, hail, hail to our Self Supreme Self, our one and only true and real self, the void unmanifest self. Hail, 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 hail to the primal light. Hail, 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 hail to the primal light. Hail, 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 hail to the primal light. Give thanks for all things. Ourself is in alignment to bring balance to this dream, to return consciousness back onto its true self. Consciousness is what? Consciousness is a self-replica of the non-dual consciousness of Aten Ra. And it is in the duality right now, sleeping and dreaming. And this has been a suffering and agony for consciousness. And this is where the evil stems from this duality consciousness, because the consciousness and its light is separated. The light is really obscure behind the consciousness, and consciousness cannot find this light. And this has created madness, sickness, deranged thinking within consciousness. And the more consciousness dwell into its imagination and dwell on these thoughts, the worse it gets. And when we come into this dream, we were given a replica of this crazy tainted consciousness that everyone explore the world as, and now is thinking that it is themselves. And now it must be returned back onto consciousness, so that what? Consciousness can be healed and consciousness can return to balance. So I said it's time for this dream to end, and it's time for everyone to wake up. I know the mind that you exist in as right now does not want to hear this, but it is the truth. And whether you want to hear it or not, this is what that is going to happen. So for many of you, I know you won't listen to this, but for the ones who do, you know what I'm saying? Please share. All right. So know this truth. I want to give reverence to all of our self-supreme who are tirelessly working to bring balance to this dream. I said, hail, hail to Aten Ra. I said, hail to our self-manifest primalite. Hail to our primalite unmanifest self. Hail to our void manifest self. And a hail to our void unmanifest self, our one true being of who we are. I want to say it to hail up to Shiva Shambho, who's working tirelessly with all our supreme self, bringing balance to the world. I want to say hail up to Shiva. Shiva's been working tirelessly to assisting the world into balance and assisting many ones who has been in agony with the beings. And also I want to say reverence and honor to give the earth who have been in sleeping and dreaming so that we can exist in this earth. And I want to say reverence and honor to Amun Ra, who is the invisible world. This is where we go when we don't have a body. And when you go into sleep, this is where you go into sleep. You enter into that invisible world. And I want to say reverence and honor to Nut, the sky is where all our sun is in the sky up there, our light. And when your light get turned on, this is where it will be. And so the light of the soul, this is what we look up in and call it the stars. They are our light. They are our sun. We are all suns. And so to know this truth, and this is what this whole existence is about. It's about the light who have light and who don't have light, and who don't have light want to oppress the ones who have the light so that they can enslave them and take their light instead of looking to find their own light. Thank you for joining me today. Hail, hail to the primal light. Hail, hail to the true light. Hail, hail to the transparent light. Hail to the light throughout the ages. Hail to the light without beginning nor end. Seek your truth from within. It's time for you to return this mind that does not belong to you back to consciousness. Consciousness is sick and deranged, and consciousness is a serious mental issue, and consciousness needs out of its mind back onto itself so that consciousness can return to truth. It does not belong to you. Return it. Our God to save our skin, sacrifice our soul, forgive our sins. Heaven home, let us live. Heaven home, won't you let us in? Where did it all begin? 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 Being a woman, being a sin, slave a servant to a king. Where did it all begin? Rape, slavery, and killing. Where did it all begin? 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 Where did it